IGN sat down with U.S. Army Fire Control Specialist and gamer Staff Sergeant Colente Williams to get their perspective on God of War Ragnarok and their unique take on the challenges that await Kratos in this latest installment. Presented by the U.S. Army.
What's up, everyone? I'm Staff Sergeant Williams. I'm a 13 Juliet Field Artillery Tactical Data Specialist. I'm the brains of the Field Artillery. I work together with Ford Observers and the 13 Bravo Cannon Crewmen, just like how Kratos and Atreus work together in God of War. Kratos got the extra fur on this time. And what I like about this drip that he has, you know, it's the leather, you know what I'm saying? And then the fur that's going around the shoulders and neck. Like that's something I would rock if I was Kratos. And if I could grow a beard like him too, that'd be pretty sick. Brock and Sindri, they have a great relationship. I mean, I have a lot of brothers, like a lot. So we bicker kind of like how those two do. Oh, this combat is sick.
Are you a calm and reasonable person?
Come on, we know he's not a calm, reasonable person. It's Kratos. He doesn't care.
You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com. What's your warrior? God of War Ragnarok is coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. For more on everything God of War, keep it here on IGN.
IGN's Summer of Gaming. The summer of fun video game events is here, and today it's PlayStation's time to shine. The company behind Horizon, God of War, Spider-Man, and the immensely popular PlayStation 5 has a brand new presentation to share, and you've got a front row seat for it. Tune in right now for our PlayStation Showcase Countdown show, followed by the full PlayStation Summer Showcase Live and our detailed post-show, where IGN's PlayStation experts will break down all of the biggest announcements. It's all part of IGN's Summer of Gaming, and it all starts right now.
State of Play digital event. That starts in a few minutes, so while we're waiting, we're going to be breaking down what we expect to see in our countdown show. I'm joined right now by my Beyond co-hosts Brian Altano, Jada Griffin, and Max Scoville.
Woo!
Excited?
Yeah! Let's do it! It's here! It's Summer of Gaming.
I think that covers it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Great show.
Appreciate it. Before we get started, just a reminder that IGN Summer of Gaming is going on throughout June. There's so much going on. We're really going to be ramping up next week with Netflix's Geeked Week, IGN's own Expo, plus the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase. And there's a ton more going on besides just that. But today is all about PlayStation. We're almost 2 years into the PS5's life cycle, and so far the hottest game around is actually trying to buy a PS5 or a Series X. Sony came out swinging with first-party exclusives at launch and released quite a few new games since then, but there aren't really any confirmed release dates for the rest of 2022. The only thing we know for sure will be shown today is Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR 2. We'll talk about that in a little more, but first I think we need to address the big one, God of War Ragnarok. Everyone wants to see it. Everyone's hoping it shows up here, even though we didn't hear about it. They haven't said first party will be here. Do you all think we're going to get a release date for this?
Absolutely. I think it has to happen today. I shaved my head in anticipation for solidarity with
for
Kratos.
this moment.
Yeah. I also became a father a couple years ago just for good luck for this game.
So that's how you're a real God of War fan.
Yeah, you guys are all fake God of War fans. I'm doing the tattoo in the head next. No, this is the game we have to find out about today. This is their biggest first-party title of the year. All signs point to us finding out about something of this game very, very soon because we don't know yet. It seems every major first party has delayed their big flagship title for this year until next year. All eyes are on God of War. It's got to deliver, and I think it's going to be this fall.
I appreciate the enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm right there with you if it'll be here today.
What?
I know, I'm sorry. But Max, what do you think? Are you expecting it?
I'm cautiously optimistic, but again, I think we just saw, Xbox had to delay their two big fall games, and we've seen some very rough fall launches around huge games that people were really looking forward to, and I think some people have learned lessons from that, and they're really cautious about announcing a date that won't be hit because it's demoralizing when a date gets announced, everyone goes, yeah, and then they go, sorry, it's actually going to be 3 weeks after that. And you go, okay, fine. They're like, sorry, it's going to be 6 months after that. Our bad. So I hope we get a date, but also if we don't, I can live with it. I just,
Yeah, to your point, there's definitely been a few PlayStation games where it's like they announced the date and then it was like, one more month. Just give us one more month. So I can understand them wanting to wait until they're like 100% sure. But Jada, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to get it?
I think I'm in the same boat with Max.
Okay.
I think we're going to get it. It's a potential to get it today. I'm not expecting to get it.
Yeah.
But we did get the PlayStation Plus of games for June, and God of War was in it. So how cool would it be at the end of the show to just see the Ragnarok icon and the date pop up?
That's all
That's
you need.
it. We had the merchandise leak recently, too.
Yeah, there were some socks that came out. It was rated in Korea, so it has to be coming.
Hey, look, if you can't play God of War in September, at least you could buy some socks. All right.
As we all know, with the promotional merchandise tied in that happened with Halo Infinite several years ago, that ended up being about 2 years early.
Yeah.
That always means that the release date's around the corner and that it's spot on, right?
You've
you
got to
guys?
hope for
Yes.
it. Yeah, we'll see. Before we get to some other games, though, I guess just quick, right around the table, put a release date on it. I don't care what day of the week that is. Just get, because we don't have a calendar in front of us.
Okay.
Brian.
October 8th.
Perfect.
That could be like a Sunday morning.
The third Tuesday in September.
I love it.
Oh.
Jada.
August 4th.
All right, and I'm going to go for September 4th.
This is good. We
There
all
we go.
picked different
They're different
times.
dates, I think. I think that's how numbers work. But anyway, let's talk about what we're realistically expecting to see. There are, we know right now that there will be PSVR 2 games and third parties are going to be shown off for PS4 and PS5. So that's a broad amount of stuff we could be talking about. Brian, what is like one game? What's one thing you want to see at this show?
So I'm a little surprised that we're going to get so much PSVR stuff today, or at least it feels like that. We got that kind of tease of Horizon, which is great, but like I really want another Astrobot. Astrobot is there at the launch of something. He's brings all his crazy, interesting gimmicks with him. We got it for the PS5, we got it for the PSVR, and so PSVR 2, so allegedly coming at some point soon-ish, maybe, hopefully. Then I want a brand new Astrobot that shows off all the bells and whistles and weird stuff that brand new VR helmet headset can do.
Yeah, Rescue Mission was like the killer app for PSVR 1.
Yeah.
That was the thing you gave to people to be like, look what it's like to be in here. It was so ingenious. Obviously, Astro's Playroom at the PS5 launch was such a big deal as well.
You could feel the rain.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good experience, though. It was like the perfect DualSense, and the fact that that's going to be part of the new VR2 controllers, you would hope this would be the flagship thing to show it off. So I'm hopeful for it. I would love that. But Max, what about you? What's something you hope will be?
Robotic robots are cool, but what about robotic cats in cyberpunk worlds such as in Stray? That little cat game that got shown off ages ago. I mean, it's one of those like incredible looking indie games where you're like, I'm not going to play this for 8 years, am I? And I really hope that 8 years is coming to an end, or maybe it's less than that. But it'd be nice to see some more of that, and maybe, I don't know, get a release window or something like that.
Yeah, there was a like tease of indie games coming to PlayStation a week or two ago that I think said summer for this one. So we are close. This is the summer of gaming. So we can only hope that it appears in the summer of gaming.
I'm just a sucker for any game where you play as animals that actually behave like animals and don't put on thief costumes or wear jean shorts. That's like a regular cat in a not so regular environment. It's really cool.
Don't rule out Jean Short DLC for this game just yet, because it could happen.
So. I do think we see it wearing like a backpack at some points in
That's
some of
not
the gameplay,
clothing.
but okay, fair enough.
You can wear a backpack and get arrested for indecent exposure.
I didn't know you were so up on the laws like that.
Didn't think that's where this would be going here today, but sure, let's do it. Beyond.
Yeah, that is what happens in the pre-show. No, I think, Stray is one of those indies we've seen at a few Sony showcases right now. It's a console exclusive for PS4, PS5, also coming to PC. So I think that's like a sure bet of one people just want to see. We want to know more what it's like to feel like a cat in a game.
Yeah.
Jada, what about you? What's one you hope to see?
I'm gonna go with the big one, Street Fighter 6. We got that very, very brief teaser a couple months back, and it was just reuse pecs, and I want to see more of the pecs.
What more do you need?
I want to see more characters. I want to see a fight. I want to see a fight today. That's what I want.
I want to see the street.
I want to see the street.
yeah.
The street.
One or the
fight.
other.
Yes.
Maybe both,
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to redesign that logo that people figured out was...
I want to see more of the 6. That was a cool,
Yeah, it was very, numbers.
Yeah.
Once again, we're going back
We
to
want
numbers.
more numbers.
We want more numbers.
Yes.
Love numbers here at IGN. Check out our top 10s and top 100s.
It's our number one favorite thing. No, I mean, that feels like a safe one, especially with PlayStation. Obviously, Street Fighter V was such a big deal on PlayStation as well. Is there anything where I assume you want gameplay? You don't want another cinematic review.
No, I want to see a fight. I want to see somebody's special. I want to see a combo. I want to see something. I want to see whatever the new mechanic that they're bringing to Street Fighter 6.
I think Blanca's special.
Yeah, let's see Blanca's special.
I think he is special.
Oh, Blanca is very special. I mean, you've seen the movie, right?
They're all special
You've
in
seen
their
the
own
Street
way,
Fighter
yeah.
movie, like Street Fighter. He was very special in that movie.
That was a special movie indeed.
I haven't seen that movie, so I'll take your word for it. But yeah, no, this one feels like one of the big hanging questions, especially because we just saw such a small cinematic trailer. We're like, well, we'll see in the future. Those always feel like, well, probably at a summer event we'll see it, and this one feels like a perfect opportunity for that. For me, another one that I really hope to see is continuing along the indie train of games we've seen at State of Plays, Little Devil Inside. That one has been gestating for a long time. It got a State of Play like marquee placement last year.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's show you 6 minutes of gameplay. Here's what it's going to be like. And we just haven't heard a thing.
That happens a lot. Why do they do that?
I know. Why do they do that to us?
Is that just for pre-orders?
Probably.
Okay,
I
'cause
don't
it
know if
works.
I could pre-order this one, but I would have. But no, the gameplay for that one was really charming. We've seen a couple trailers for it now. It's got this really beautiful sort of like toyetic art style to it. We saw, as silly as it was, a big deal for the last gameplay was we saw the overworld map and what that would look like. And there's just something really charming about the humor of it, the look of it, the feel, the mood it's going for. But again, I feel like this is one that when they show it next, we just need a release date at this point. I don't think we can get another, here's 3 minutes of it. It's maybe coming this year. I think this needs a date on it. We need to see it. It needs to be there. But
God, it looks so good.
it's really beautiful. Yeah, it's one of those games that I hope we get to see more of. But like, this is the weird thing with State of Plays, where it's such an open field of expectation.
But this one specifically, Jonathan, this is in the building that E3 used to be in, right?
Yes.
Which is, I guess, like a Halloween headquarters now. But it's still, this is special. This is that summertime of year. This is event season, as we call it.
Yeah.
We gotta get big news today, right?
I hope so. I mean, one of the first State of Plays happened right before E3. I think it was the first E3 PlayStation decided to skip.
Yep.
And that was the reveal of FF7 Remake gameplay. So that was a big one. I
Exactly.
think it had that. I think it had Monster Hunter Iceborne, the expansion for World. Like, they will do big things, but I do know that sometimes there's expectations of like, oh, it'll be smaller games for a little bit.
I'm trying to keep expectations in check here,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, Sony should know that people have high expectations this time of year. Like, if you throw a party at your house on October 31st and it's not a Halloween party, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
little bit.
it's kind of understandable for people to be like, oh, it's going to show up in costume. What could go wrong? Like, this is the week when the big stuff should be getting announced. So if they're saving the really big stuff for the third Tuesday in September or whatever, like, kind of
The same day God of War releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be him.
Max, I feel like there's some trauma there that you actually showed up to a Halloween party in costume and you were the only person in costume.
I got the date wrong.
He also only wore a backpack.
Can we not bring that up again?
We'll get back to the backpack stuff hopefully after the show if Stray shows up. But no, yeah, this is an interesting one where we've been talking a little bit about it before the show. The one big thing we do know, in addition to Horizon Call of the Mountain, is of course PSVR 2 around that. Are we hoping for PSVR 2 to come anytime soon, or are we thinking this will be a further off sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to learn about new PlayStation hardware because that's a rare thing, especially nowadays. Like, we went through the era where they were like, here's the PlayStation Eye and here's the PSVR and the PS Vita, the PSP. Like, they had a PlayStation TV. Like, there was all these different things they were doing for a long time, and it seems like they've consolidated all their efforts into PS5. That said, you still can't really buy that console anywhere.
Yeah.
So creating a peripheral for it feels a little ill-timed, unless they're like, this works with your PC too, and now you can buy it. Not PC 2, your PC also.
I would take a PC sequel.
They are announcing the PC 2 too.
I mean, hey, there are PlayStation games going to PC, so
Yeah.
it could happen.
Totally.
I think that would do a lot for the PSVR 2's lifespan or just general interest because a whole lot of people play PC games. That's a reality. And you could plug a DualSense into a PC and play games with it. So maybe, I don't know, to make the new VR headset talk to PCs too, and then you have an entire massive audience that might start tinkering with it. I'm skeptical about PSVR 2. Like, I'm going to say that I was a PSVR 1 early adopter, and like that was a really, really cool device. But at the same time, it almost feels like this one's been kind of developed in a vacuum. We've got like the Quest is like a standalone thing that you can play Resident Evil 4 on. Like, that's nuts. And then this one, I don't know, you've got to plug it into a $500 console that you can't find in stores. Kind of tricky there.
This is going to be an immensely powerful, immensely high-end VR unit, which I think that's what they're going for, right? They're going for like this high-end market that's separate from the sort of like the regular kind of consumer that can walk into a Best Buy and spend a couple $100 on Oculus and throw it in their backpack or whatever. Well, we keep talking about backpacks. But for PSVR 2, I think they're like, this is for the people that pay for high-end PC VR, but we want that to kind of work with the PlayStation ecosystem with PlayStation first-party stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah. Jada, anything?
I mean, you guys kind of covered all the points. Like, it's so hard to get a PS5 right now, and PSVR is going to be huge for those who have consoles, but they're kind of limiting themselves with not having their market, with not having consoles out there. I think there's going to be a lot of great stuff for it. I think we'll see some really cool like bundles in the lifetime of the PSVR 2, but I think it's going to be some time until it's a big household name that Sony is hoping it will be.
Agreed, and hopefully we get to see more games of what it's going to actually like, entail, what that high end is going to be in just a few minutes, but we need to take a quick break, but please don't go anywhere. The PlayStation State of Play will be starting in just a few minutes. IGN Summer of Gaming will continue right after this.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is presented by the US Army. You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com. What's your warrior? And sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
And we're back. This is the Sony PlayStation State of Play Countdown show right here on IGN Summer of Gaming. We're running down the clock until the main event starts, and it's still a few minutes away. But first, let's hear from the audience. We asked you which game you're most excited to see on today's show, so let's see what you're most excited for. This is Called It, sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile. Play more than before on the go with unlimited 5G. Switch to Metro and save, just $40, period. Today's audience choice for the most anticipated game is Horizon Call of the Mountain. Not a huge surprise there. I think that is the one game we actually know is happening at the show. I am excited to see more Horizon. I think it is a great candidate for VR because of the scope and scale of the robots in that world. But what about you?
I think this is actually a pretty surprising poll because we were talking about, like, I don't know how long it's going to take to find its footing with PSVR 2 and its audience and stuff like that. But the audience is really excited for it, despite the fact that we just got a Horizon game just a few months ago.
I mean, I think that's part of the reason why the audience is so hyped for it. Like, it's current. The other titles that we kind of we put in the poll haven't really seen a release. They don't have like as huge of a following. So I think Horizon kind of had the easy win here.
Yeah.
But I mean, kudos to them, and I'm excited for it. I love Horizon. I love the world. I'm very excited what it's going to be like walking underneath certain robots, like the tall necks.
No, this is definitely like a universe that's very well suited for VR. It actually makes me think of there was that Crytek PSVR game, the Journey or Robinson,
Robinson the Journey,
which was pretty much about seeing big old dinosaurs up close and personal, because that's exciting. They've done a few different like Jurassic World inspired VR experiences. What I really hope is that people aren't expecting this to be the same scale or level of experience or immersion maybe immersion, but like action as standard Horizon. You know, because I think this is going to be. I mean, maybe if it is a full-blown game, I think it's going to be more narrative focused, and it's probably a lot harder to like chip off armor pieces of a dinosaur in VR than it is when you're playing it more conventionally.
I don't know. I mean, I get pretty into VR. When I used to play Super Hot, I used to roll around like when I was trying to dodge bullets. I would literally hit the ground. It was stop, drop, and roll.
That reminds me of the first Wii reveal trailer where they showed people like hiding behind their couches while using the Wiimote. So maybe you'll be able to do that with Horizon.
And Jada, with the power of PSVR 2, you will only get wrapped up in one cable and not
It's going to
several.
be so great. I was like tripping over both cables.
Yeah.
Well, Horizon took more than 60% of the results there. So obviously people are looking forward to Call to the Mountain. It's Call to the Mountain, correct?
Call of the Mountain.
Call of. We're calling of.
You can call to the mountain.
Call to the mountain.
Yes.
It's a lot of names. But we also got Little Devil Inside was second place in the poll, which again we had mentioned earlier in the show. Very excited. Hopefully we get to see more of that. Following that was Exoprimal and then Season. Exoprimal, of course, showed up, I believe, in the last State of Play. That was the one that everyone thought was going to be Dino Crisis for a second.
Yeah, that got 8% because everyone knows damn well what dinosaur game Capcom should be making.
I mean, it did just basically look like, what, Dynasty Warriors with dinosaurs.
Dino Nasty Warriors.
Yeah, there we go. It looks fun. It looked like they were falling from the sky. I'll take it. And then last but not least, with a little over 4% of the poll, was Season, which is another indie we've seen PlayStation showcase. We haven't seen much of it. It's one of those we saw a beautiful experiential trailer of someone riding a bike through a beautiful landscape.
Right.
It was gorgeous. And then it was kind of like, well, where's the game? And then we just kind of been waiting. So I can understand why maybe people forgot about that one for a little bit, but hopefully maybe we get to see more of it today.
They haven't told us what season it's going to drop in.
True.
That's true. That's
Right.
a good thing to name your game because you can technically get delayed in the season.
Do you just call the next one Season 2 or like Season: Fall? Like, do you have to specify the season?
Season's origins.
Ooh, I love it. Well, that's what our audience is looking forward to, but there are tons of titles we might get more information about today. Now it's time to make some of our other predictions. What do we all think is going to be at today's announcements? Brian, I'll start with you. What is one you're hoping to really see?
Let's see. Okay. Well, I'm a gigantic fan of Resident Evil 4. Gigantic fan. I bought it on every system it's ever been put on. And we've been hearing rumors about this Resident Evil 4 remake, sort of like what they did with 2 and 3 for years now. That keeps popping up. This is a third-party focused event today. This feels like a time for that. So I'm willing into existence Resident Evil 4 remake for PS5 using all the best graphics. I want to feel all the little rumbles when I'm walking around. I'm on the minecart and stuff like that. I'm stabbing the Gyarados, having the best time of my life. Or I will also take Resident Evil 4 VR that was on Oculus getting ported to PSVR 2.
Yeah.
That's a nice, runner-up prize for me.
Yeah, we know that one exists on the Oculus side of things. It would be a nice one to be able to port over, but yeah, that remake has just sort of been they've got to do it next, right?
Yeah.
And we've gotten reports that it's allegedly in the works, but we haven't seen any official word of it. But that just feels like, as you've said, it's been ported to so many different consoles. That is such a beloved watermark for Resident Evil.
And no disrespect to Code Veronica. I know a lot of people know that that's next in line naturally, but we're going with numbers here, and Resident Evil 4 is just so good.
That's right. I'm the Code Veronica person.
I'm glad you're
right
here.
now.
I'm glad I got to apologize to your face
Yes,
because
yes.
you know what? I'm with you. I think that's a fun game, and I hope we get a remake of that too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I accept your apology on behalf of all the Code Veronica stands
Look,
out
look
there.
what we did today. See, everyone, we can do this. We can come together with video games.
We're bridging the gap. Ryan McCaffrey will be here in just a second to talk about Xbox. No, he won't.
He's actually been locked out of the building.
Max, what about you? What's another game you're hoping will show up?
Well, I think we can all agree that this year's hottest Christmas film is going to be James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water, and I can't wait to check out that Avatar game. I don't know. We have a what? It's finally coming out. They're putting the movie out.
Are they quietly paying you to talk about Avatar for 10 years?
James Cameron doesn't even answer my fan mail.
How long have I been friends with you? A decade? You've talked about Avatar every single time I've ever seen you for 10 years. And fine, you finally have a chance to do it this year. I'm always at the Avatar.
Anyway,
it's a realistic possibility.
It makes sense. Sony's color theme is blue. Avatar people are blue. It makes sense. The Na'vi. Excuse me. I haven't seen the Avatar. I'm so I don't even think I should be next to Max today.
Take a break from Apex for 2.5 hours and just watch Avatar.
Can I watch Avatar while I play Apex on my other TV?
Most of the fun, which is looking at it. There really isn't a whole lot to listen to. But no, seriously, like that, we don't think that Ubisoft is doing much in the way of any big summer announcements. If they are, we haven't heard anything about them. So this would be a good place to to show that off and see what those cats are up to on Pandora.
You keep talking all these different cats. The Avatar game, they're all butt naked with backpacks. Apparently.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
They're wearing like little Vine underpants.
They got mini backpacks or pouches.
They're all made out of leaves and stuff.
I mean, that is definitely a possibility. As of right now, that game is still scheduled for 2022. They haven't said a word about it. It's set for this year. PlayStation, in their recent earnings call, released a slide of the big third-party games that they are supporting, and Avatar was on there.
Yeah, if you have the word Avatar in the title of something, it's going to arrive just on time. So.
Never been wrong before.
Never.
Well, hopefully that will be the way this state of play goes for you. We'll see.
Beautiful.
Jada, what about you? What's another one you're hoping to see?
I'm again going for the big ones. I'm swinging for the fences. Final Fantasy 16. We last got that at a showcase, about a year ago now at this point, I want to say. We got a really cool trailer, but not a whole lot of details out of it. And I think right now is a great time to kind of fill that gap while we're waiting for 7 Part 2, the remake, and get everybody hooked on that, because 14 is going strong, but I think our console players that are more single player focused are really looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. So that's what I want to see.
We know there is a 16 trailer just kind of hanging out there somewhere on a hard drive at Square Enix, like the producers have talked about. Yeah, we have a trailer ready, we just haven't shown it yet.
You can't do that. That's not fair.
That was in I believe there was a transcription of an interview, and they were like, yeah, we're basically planning to show the game soon. We just had to delay the showing of it or something.
Sorry, this trailer got buried in our inbox. I'm going to circle back on this.
Well, they were too busy showing Kingdom Hearts 4, which I don't think will be here. But no, 16 is, I think, another big one. We know that they also didn't want to show too much until they were we're ready to release the game. So I do feel like that one's got to be getting close to publish at some point. So a trailer here would be amazing. Like you said, though, it could be, it was shown, I believe, at a showcase last, so it could be one of the PlayStation Showcase marquee games.
Yep.
So we'll have to see. But that would be an awesome one to see today, especially because Square Enix loves to be at these shows. My last pick, I guess I am not quite swinging for the fences like Brian when it comes to Resident Evil, and more I'm just aiming to get on base. I know how sports work. I am hoping to see Resident Evil 8 DLC.
Yes.
Last year, Capcom at their summer event was like, we are making DLC in a message, like
a JPEG, yeah.
But it was like a really spooky one. It was very it was menacing.
It was a scary font.
What's scarier than the middle of the day in June to announce DLC? But I was scared.
The papyrus font.
Yeah, I was going to say Comic Sans.
That's a registered trademark of James Cameron. No, I love that they basically poke their heads up and they're like, oh, you like Resident Evil Village?
Yeah. It caught them by surprise.
We have DLC in the works. Guys, we gotta get back to the office.
Where's the vampire lady?
It was an immensely popular game, right?
It was huge. I feel that's one of the things, especially with Resident Evil. It's like they can revive anyone. They could put the DLC wherever they want. I think a lot of people want it to have some focus on Lady Dimitrescu. That feels like she was such an icon for that game. It has become so a figurehead of what 8 was for people that it would be cool to perhaps play as her in VR from that tall perspective, maybe.
That would be very interesting.
I've always wondered what it's like to be tall. That sounds like a real treat.
Yeah, that's the thing you wonder. Yeah. As I say from 2 heads below you looking up to you whenever we talk. But no, I think, Resident Evil, I would hope would be here in some fashion.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those, we haven't heard from a little bit. There was a really quick pace of remakes to 8 to remakes. So hopefully we see some more of that soon. But I mean, I'm very excited. There's so much potential here, and that's one of the weird moments that we're in. We're just a few minutes away. I think we're moments.
So when if none of this comes true, how angry do we get to get in the post show, or sad, or how excited do we get if things go everything we predicted today comes true?
How excited? I think if we nailed everything, I think we won't be here on the post show, and Sony will be wondering how we did that.
Now, there are tons of people in the chat saying things like Bloodborne, Persona 3, Spider-Man PC.
Oh, Persona, yeah.
So,
I would love Persona.
There's a lot on the table here. Obviously, there was all the the rumors of more PC ports coming of iconic first-party PlayStation games.
Yeah.
There's a lot that could happen today. I'm very excited for it. Bloodborne's a big one. We had that nefarious rumor the other day that Bloodborne was getting a remake, and that just went away. So that wasn't that was a rude lie.
That was a hard day for you, I could imagine.
Anything Bloodborne would be welcome. They could be like, we have new Bloodborne merch at the Sony store. I'd be like, all right, let's go. Let's get over there. Back to Yarnum, everybody.
I think the word Bloodborne uttered during a state of play would send the internet into a tailspin.
Yeah, it was like Reggie Fils-Aimé used to wear a Metroid pin for 7 years every now and then. It was even though they didn't have anything in the works, like it was enough to get us going, you know?
Yeah, that's one that I think even just people want a slight remastered performance for PS5. Like the things fans ask for are just like the basics for this game at this point. So hopefully, I'm not going to put any stock in it, but I hope it's here. Before we get to the show, any other last minute, just crazy pie in the sky hopes?
Ooh, man.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Ooh.
I mean, there was maybe illegitimate information floating around about things Capcom is working on, and a lot of people are like, excuse me, Dragon's Dogma 2? I feel like that's a really good time for a game like that. That first one is a big, huge, massive open world RPG with, weird sort of asymmetrical, vaguely multiplayer stuff to it, and we just saw Elden Ring absolutely murder sales-wise, so I feel like Capcom kind of carting out like, hey, Master Harpies, human bones that move on their own. Like, just get some pawns out here.
We noticed you guys like open world fantasy games. Here's the JPEG.
Yeah. All roads lead to Grand Seren.
Well, we can only hope for that. But we're getting very close. So please stick around to see who called it correctly in our post show. And remember, now you can play more than before on the go with unlimited 5G. Switch to Metro and save. Just $40, period. Well, it looks like the PlayStation State of Play is going to be starting in any second now. We're just about to get there, so we're going to shut up so you can all watch that show. But we're not going anywhere. Please stick around after for our post show, a live episode of Podcast Beyond, where we'll break down everything that got shown off. And let's go to the State of Play in just a minute. I can't believe it.
You want to just chat for 39 seconds?
Sure, let's do that. How are you doing?
So Vita 2. This is
Vita
it.
2.
This is my Hail Mary. Handhelds are immensely popular again. The Switch is crushing it. Steam just put out the Steam Deck. Everyone's making handhelds. The Analog Pocket rules. Great time. Vita 2, bring it back. I need another dedicated Sony handheld gaming platform that plays all my favorite PlayStation games.
Brian,
What format is it using?
Do you mean like
Cartridges? Are they going back to UMD?
all digital.
All digital.
All digital and regular ass saving mechanisms and no proprietary $400.
And a third thumbstick.
Yes, three.
Well,
It's in the middle of the screen, which is weird.
I hope that happens. We're going to the State of Play. Enjoy. I can't wait.
Here we go.
Woo!
I've located Baby Eagle.
Guess you, me, picked the wrong spot to vacation, eh?
You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
State of Play returns, and we've got some great PlayStation updates to share with you today. And thanks to Capcom for kicking it off with Resident Evil 4, coming to PS5 with PlayStation VR2 content also in development. Now let's get a sneak peek at 4 games in development for PlayStation VR2.
Now, let's take a look at him. Well, Ethan Winters. You escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you? Let's see how special you are.
Yes, Mother.
Yes, Mother. Oh, be careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
What are you doing?
You, of all people, have the audacity to question me? You, who emerged from the putrid waters of the bayou to plunder our righteous gains and cut our throats like a demon in the night. What have you done to ensure the future of this forsaken city? You, who have brought nothing but chaos. When death was swallowing this city whole, it was I who resurrected it. It was I who shined as a beacon of hope for all. The tower cries out for blood, and I vow to spill it. When the bells ring, the song they sing will be righteous. Welcome home, tourist.
There. Where are you taking me? I asked you a question. Everyone says Reyes is a good shot.
Yeah, and he'll put arrows through both of us. You're switching with me.
It's a snap mob! We're not gonna make it!
Blameless Murad had me released from prison. But why? Redemption is still possible, Reyes. Climb the mountain. Find out why the machines are attacking.
that, and you shall be a free man. It will take all your wits, your skills, and courage. You have walked in the shadows, Reyes. Now it is time to climb into the light.
Hi, I'm Ben McCaw, Narrative Director at Guerrilla. I hope you enjoyed your first look at Horizon Call of the Mountain, coming exclusively to PlayStation VR 2. We're also happy to announce that a big update to Horizon Forbidden West, including New Game Plus, will be available to download on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 today. For details on this free update, please check out PlayStation Blog. From all of us at Guerrilla, thank you for your continued support, and please stay tuned for more updates to come.
Get ready, a PlayStation fan favorite is coming to PC.
These past few years, sacrificing so much and asking for nothing.
If you want to change the world, you have to be the kind of man who can make the hardest decisions.
Do you really need two of those?
You are everything that's wrong with this city!
I'm gonna go,
Do your thing.
You can't just push people around like that.
Just ask for help next time.
Time to bring back the glory days.
Did you just leave your clothes on the kitchen floor? Explore a mysterious cyber city in Stray, coming to PS5 and PS4 July 19th. PlayStation Plus Extra members and higher can download Stray at no extra cost when it launches next month. Up next, 3 games that will get your heart racing.
Take a look outside. Did you know that they call Callisto the Dead Moon? Dead.
just like you would have been if I hadn't fished you out of that wreck. So whatever you're holding on to right there, that's your old life. You gotta let that go. Because your new life is entirely in my hands. I'm just trying to give you a chance at rebirth. I just love that last part. Gives me chills every time.
In the year 2030, a new blood sport grips the globe. And in the arena, there will only be the victorious and the dead. Is watching in Rollerdrome.
Sometimes I wonder if things will ever be normal again. The world hasn't ended yet. It's not hopeless. I won't let anyone else get hurt! Don't you want science in your corner? Oh, ew! I'm going to miss them.
I look forward to seeing what you can do.
Action games and dating sims collide in Eternites, coming to PS5 and PS4 next year. Let's check back in with Capcom for a new look at an upcoming heavy hitter.
When you go looking for strength, it's not like a game. This journey doesn't have a real ending. Okay then, hope you're ready to begin. If you want to start off on the right foot in this city, hit the streets.
Yeah, hey there, I do this, never fear losing. And when I get up in the game, y'all be improved. A real problem, but I solve them all face proof. And if you think I'm going forward, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. Or dunks inside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Fight! It started from the ground up, training getting wound up, channeling the inner self and moving up and down, crossing over, passing around, on the time the clock and keep score. Years I never thought it crossed before. When I get tired on my knees, I got it digging deep. I feel like I'm on the left, it really has got me. Actions are with the wind, no goodbyes. If you just let it get, I'm out in the scheming, right around in the dreaming. Once I get the feeling,
The top player is here.
Let me have some fun.
Ready? Then show me.
This will be a good fight.
if you wanna come and stand up to me, pull up on me now. If you wanna challenge, tell me what you wanna call me now. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back.
This is our destiny.
My secret art! Street Fighter 6.
That was your first look at Street Fighter 6 gameplay. Mark your calendars, it comes to PS5 and PS4 in 2023. Now it's time for 2 indie adventures arriving later this year.
She set out to record life at the end of this season.
To make it real for people in the future. She asked us about living together.
And we asked her about traveling alone.
When the season turns, what will remain?
Only what she saw, what she captured.
She carries the sounds of the season with her. The way she listened made you want to tell her everything.
I got to look in her journal. The world was telling her its secrets. I think she even figured out what will happen to us when the season ends. Is it going? Is it gone?
Not yet.
世界中のゲーマーの皆さんこんにちは。ファイナルファンタジー16プロデューサーの吉田です。長らくお待たせいたしましたが、いよいよファイナルファンタジー16の最新情報をお届けする日がやってまいりました。最新のトレーラーとともにインタビューなども始まりますので、ぜひそちらも楽しみにお待ちください。今世界には本当に様々な困難があります。僕らゲーム開発者にはゲームを一生懸命作るということしかできません。ゲームというエンターテインメントを通じてゲーマーの皆さんが心の底から楽しめる時間を提供していきたいと思ってます。それでは最新のトレーラーをどうぞ。
Who are we? What are the dominants? The power we wield, it wears away at our very being. It breaks us, it unmakes us, that its immaculate aspect might reveal itself. The icon.
There's going to be another war, isn't there?
Every day we delay brings us closer to disaster. We must move now.
The chaos he would wreak would sweep all of Valisthea into the abyss.
I unite the dominants, that we may bring an end to the strife, and found a new order to see us unto tomorrow.
If I take the field, our duel will shake the island to its foundations.
There will be losses, it is true. Yet for every citizen who falls, another can be bred. For every home that burns, another can be built. The Empire will live on.
Awaken, child of fate. Awaken, Ifrit.
And that's a wrap. Don't forget to visit PlayStation Blog to learn even more about today's announcements. See you next time.
reveals. We got release dates for a bunch of stuff. We got a ton of surprises. Almost everything that we predicted in the pre-show was here.
We did well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Avatar. of
Sorry,
course.
Avatar.
Sorry to Avatar.
I'm a little bit disappointed. But no. Like, we come out, we're like, oh, it was a panel of experts. We're at IGN. We know what we're talking about. We just read the internet a lot. Like, we sometimes know secret stuff, but we can't talk about it.
I don't go on there.
We didn't know. We were
had no idea.
This was like, safe guesses. In some cases, we're like, Resident Evil 4, please.
Yeah.
And then
I tweeted it out. I wish Resident Evil 4 Remake is a good place to start because I tweeted out. I wish everyone could have heard the scream from Ryan, the pure excitement and joy.
I feel like just one of the luckiest people in the world because like over the last few years, like two of my favorite games of all time were Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, which got a gorgeous remake, and Resident Evil 4, which is also getting a gorgeous remake. I freaked out. That game looks stunning. It surpassed even my wildest dreams of what I could expect from it. The scene where Leon is entering the village for the first time, the second I heard the Spanish guitars and saw the letter R, I'm like, we are in. This is it. Because that's how that game starts out.
Well, no, first we were like, Red Dead? Last of Us? The other guitar game.
I was like, is it called Fractions now? Is that the Last of Us multiplayer?
It is so gorgeous and moody and atmospheric. The game always was. It seems like there's like new perspectives, new content here potentially. Obviously, like we've seen these games before, kind of slimmed down from their original versions. Resident Evil 4 itself is a massive game. It is one of the biggest, longest third-person story-driven games ever made. It comes from an era of video games where they were allowed to do that. I guess at the time they were just like, we're going to keep scoping this game, keep adding stuff. So I mean, it's a huge game. I don't know if we'll get all of it in the remake. I don't want to get to that part yet where I'm popping, the balloons in my brain and losing hope. But for now, I am so excited for this. This is so beautiful, so gorgeous, and we get a release date.
Yeah, I was going to say you'll know when you can pop those balloons because we know it's coming March 24th, 2023.
That's right.
And we'll also include PSVR 2 support, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just to go over, it was a lengthy trailer. Like this was a big, expansive look at this remake, and I think to your point of like, will it be the full game? Will it have new perspectives? We have certainly seen Capcom take some liberties in the remakes and not do necessarily beat for beat, but also stuff that is very beat for beat. So I imagine it'll be a mix of both.
Yeah, and like Resident Evil 4, if you haven't played it, is one of the most like sort of visually diverse games ever made. You're in swamps, you're in forests, you're in castles. The last third of the game is basically like in a battlefield. There's just so much going on. It's so moody and spooky. It does jump scares well. It does. I mean, it to me, it reinvented the genre, survival horror in general. I'm so happy right now. This is. Whatever, you guys do the rest of the show. That's all I needed. That was so good.
That's what we said. If the state of play had been just that would have been good enough. That would have been a great state of play.
Summer of Gaming is off to a good start for me. That was at the top of the list for me. I'm so happy right now.
That was the opening announcement. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Max, how did you feel about that?
Very happy. Yeah. I'm a very late adopter of RE4 because I hang out with him all the time. He's like, play it already. I was like, okay, fine. It's such a good game. It's so much fun, and even playing the original like really holds up incredibly well. And it's interesting to look at this because like RE, the remakes of 2 and 3, really stunning, gorgeous, brilliant games. Obviously, they had to take some liberties, cut some stuff down, but they're also just like they're breathtaking to look at. And I remember playing those and being like, how are they going to do this with 4? And the answer is a generational leap. Like, this is very clearly going to be a next-gen game, and it makes sense because there's a generational leap between 2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the, PS5's, like, loading capabilities and just how it's able to kind of, spin up new worlds without having to throw you on a loading screen is going to be really huge for this. And, I mean, this is definitely visually stunning. I think it is very important to get in front of this right now. I will be shocked and aghast if this is the entirety of RE4 remade from the ground up. Like, I think there are going to be some concessions and some things that are tweaked and altered to sort of maybe not streamline it, but make it so that they can fit enough stuff in there, make it fit right. But I'm definitely not complaining. It looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Jada, what did you think of it?
I loved it. I love Resident Evil 4. I love the Resident Evil franchise. Like 4 came at such a formative years for a lot of us when we were playing games. Like it was that transition from the older Resident Evil style gameplays and we got this third-person action, and 4 just really nailed it and brought it home. The one thing I'm missing out of this trailer, though, is what you buying, stranger?
Yeah,
where's the merchant?
We need to see that merchant.
We need the merchant.
He'll be the next trailer, I'm sure. That's a perfect sound up from like Total Black, and then just here's the guy. There
Got some red things on sale for you, stranger. Yeah.
Brian, because you are the RE4 uber fan, I do have to ask, I have not played the original yet. Do you think I should before this, or just go in cold?
Oh man, well, you got a year. I'd say play it, and then you'll appreciate it. I think it still holds up. It's got that pop and shot gameplay. You are not running and gunning. You stop and shoot, and so that takes a minute to calibrate to. But once you do, you realize the entire game designed around that. Now, whether or not that will make it into the remake, that's one of my interesting questions. That's having a lot more dynamic gameplay was added to 2 and 3, and so we'll see what happens here. But I'm all for it. We also got to mention of some VR content coming to it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they remade the game entirely for Oculus, and now they're remaking the game entirely again for PS5 and making a VR port or sorts of it.
What the sort of cart and horse of that is.
Yeah.
Because could that have been sort of a dry run to be like, which parts of this work in VR and which don't?
100%.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly what they were doing. It was a test run to see like what works in VR, what doesn't. And I think it's going to be kind of like how we got Resident Evil 6, right? 7, yeah. Where 7 had a VR version of it, and I think this is going to be kind of the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lot easier to take a first-person game and dump that in VR than a third person.
Sure.
That's kind of like a very odd science experiment, but
yeah, they have that blueprint, but it will be interesting because I assume this will be third person, like the other remakes, like the original was. But yeah, we'll see what they do.
This is one of my favorite video game announcements of all time. I am so happy right now.
It was so great. Yeah, that was a phenomenal way that started off the State of Play, and we'll get into what followed after that. We're just going to celebrate Brian for the rest of the show. But we will get to all the other VR stuff that came after that. I do want to talk about some of the other heavy hitters that came throughout the show, shall we say. I stole that from the State of Play. Street Fighter 6 got a full trailer. No longer do we have... Also, we got a new logo. First of all,
we got a new logo, yes.
Jada, what did you think of this reveal?
Oh my god, it's everything I wanted to see in a Street Fighter 6 trailer. Like, the combat looks so fun, it looks fast, it's fluid. I love that they're going back to this kind of like graffiti art, watercolor type of effects on the fights. It looks like they're bringing back some form of the focus attacks from Street Fighter 4, so it looks like they're really listening to the fans who really loved 4 and had some misgivings about 5. I just hope that they really have learned from 5 where there wasn't enough content at launch, and they're making up for that. And I think that's part of why they're doing this kind of like we saw Luke exploring and climbing ladders and walking around.
Yeah,
it was so.
You said you wanted to see fighting, and I said I wanted to see the street, which was a joke. But here we go.
Yeah,
they're putting the street back in Street Fighter. You actually have to go down the street to do the fight.
It doesn't look. It's not like open world or anything like that, but it does have these sort of like final fight, beat 'em up, almost Streets of Rage type areas, which I'm really into. That's Capcom's roots when it comes to the side-scrolling fighting games, Metro City, all that fun stuff. Like, it's so cool to see that brought into this franchise here, because I'm bad at beating people up in Street Fighter, professionally, competitively, terrible. Real life,
you're amazing.
Yeah, but just getting to run around this world, doing single-player stuff, beating people up, that sounds so cool to me.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's kind of brilliant. I'm gonna call it out for what it is. This is like very clearly going to be kind of a games as a service type of thing. Like, this is the hub world. This is going to be try to if they're concerned about there not being enough content at launch, I think treating it as like this is a place to hang out. Like, this isn't just a lobby where you're waiting for a fight to start. Like, you're going to be running around and doing stuff. I wonder if we're going to see like character customization a bunch, but like that is a really kind of good way of looping in more casual players, is to have maybe not even just conventional campaign single player stuff, but having like having a city to run around and explore.
Trimmings around.
It is It's. I'm so glad we're moving past this like stare at a menu screen while you're waiting to get into a match in a lobby. Let me walk around. Let me change my customization. Let me if I see somebody else, like, hey, let's go into a training mode and let's spar for a bit. Let's hit the lab.
Another game that handled that really well, along with splashing paint around everywhere, was Splatoon. And that's kind of that hub world of like, oh, you can go over here and customize, you can talk to the DJs, you can hang out.
I was like, how are you going to tie this back to Resident Evil? But no, you're totally right. And I think it is, Jada, I think you're totally on the money in terms of like, that is the thing that breaks down barriers for people who are scared by fighting games, like me. Because I go into a match and I'm like, I don't know the combos, I'm done, goodbye. And
Jonathan, I'm sorry about that one time that I perfect, 2 rounds in a row. I couldn't. I was in.
You knew going in I wasn't good, and yet you still did it anyway.
Well, I mean that's the that's the double-edged sword of fighting games.
Yeah.
Is like there is an incredibly hardcore community surrounding them who are really, really good, and they beat the crap out of us.
Yes.
Like I want to go in there and mess around, and like the issue is finding matchmaking and having that sort of push me pull you of like making it challenging enough to keep people hooked without just completely scaring them off. So
They
like,
should let us use double-edged swords to fight those guys.
I just want to run around the streets. I don't want to fight. Can I fight people with cardboard boxes on their heads? Apparently I can.
Yeah,
So.
it's so pretty too. Like,
yeah. It's a really beautiful city. We're seeing life and like day and night of it. We're getting a whole sense of this as a world. And I think, Max, to your point of like whether this may be on the PlayStation blog now as we're saying this.
Yep.
So if any of our producers catch that, please let us know. But yeah, I could see this totally being the basis for a games as a service, because they want to add, like Jada, as you were saying, they were light at launch for Street Fighter V, but they supported that. They supported 4 for years after.
Yes.
And they're probably going to do the same here.
And you know, credit where credit's due. When we first saw the Street Fighter 6 reveal, the logo was bad. We just saw some packs. It seemed very muted. You know, no problem with packs. Show them all you want. But like it was muted, and this brought all the vibrant energy, all like that fun craziness that I associate with Street Fighter as a franchise. And kudos to Capcom for bringing that here today.
No, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights. There was one other big one. We're running short a little bit of time before we have to go to a break, so I'm just going to briefly mention it. We can maybe talk about it after the break, though. But Final Fantasy 16 also closed the show.
Yes.
To talk about heavy hitters from beginning to end, we're, I think, going to maybe get a little deeper into it. We did get a summer 2023 release window for it. Obviously, those things can change. There was also a very nice message from Yoshida, I believe, the producer, kind of talking about how we hope this can be an escape for people. We're really passionate about this one. One thing I do want to briefly touch on, and we'll dive in deeper later, but Max, you were sort of saying it's weird to have a new Final Fantasy because 15 was so long ago.
We've gotten like we had 15, which was announced I think when I was in high school, and
As
we
versus
knew
13.
those characters for a while, and then we had 3 Lightning games, so we
Yep.
kind of got used to seeing her, and there was 14, which has been getting stuff added to it for however long, and then they remade 7. So like for them to cart out a completely new, I mean even what was the hack and slash that just came out, the one
Stranger of Paradise.
Right, yeah, even that is like going back to Final Fantasy 1 characters. So like it's kind of weird for them to cart out like new people entirely and just be like, who are you? Well, I guess I have to play the game to find out. You know?
Yeah, and it was an absolutely gorgeous look at the game. It was a pretty lengthy one as well. I think we saw a lot of the summons, I guess the usual Final Fantasy summons that you expect, the sort of gods of the universe. But it was packed. Jaded, before we have to jump off, how did you feel about the summer date?
The summer date?
Yeah,
I think it's perfect. I think Final Fantasy is a perfect game for the summer when there's normally not a lot of games. Look at us right now. There's not a lot that's new coming out that we're waiting to play.
Right.
Like how great would it be to have a Final Fantasy today to play during our summer drought? So I think they're really smart in getting ready for 2023, and they're gonna.
The weather's
cover that
hot. Everyone's at the beach. Let's stay inside and play a 400-hour RPG.
Yes,
That sounds like every summer I had as a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more to break down, recap, and updog from the PlayStation State of Play. IGN Summer of Gaming Podcast Beyond will continue right after this. Wait, what's updog?
I put that in there.
Yay.
I am so lame.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile and presented by the U.S. Army. You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com.
My immediate thought
What's your
after you said we
warrior?
got to see some pecs was if Greg was
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game, but what if you got a chance to peek into the mind of the developers behind those games as they watch their hard work get completely destroyed right in front of them?
What is happening right now?
That's exactly what happens on every episode of Devs React to Speedruns. We invite you to ride along with the developers as they watch, react, and enjoy some of the craziest gameplay by the most skilled speedrunners on the planet. Tune in every Saturday for a brand new episode.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
And we're back talking all things PlayStation State of Play right here on IGN Summer of Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us. Earlier today, we asked our audience which games they were most excited to see and laid out some predictions of our own about which titles we would see today. Let's take a look at how we all did. This is the Called It Recap sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile. Play more than before on the go with unlimited 5G, switch to Metro and save. Just $40, period. So we did pretty well, I've got to say. Yeah, our audience did as well, but you know, overall, I'm pretty happy with our predictions.
I mean, I screamed about Resident Evil 4 and it showed up, so I don't really even know what else to say. That's amazing. I'm not even taking credit for that. I'm just happy.
No, is that a lesson you want to pass on to our listeners, that they need to just scream outside for the game they want?
I mean, that could have been like, maybe that was my one wish for my whole life, and I used it there. And you know what? I don't have any regrets about that. Money would have been good, but I'll take that.
Max, how are you feeling about predictions-wise from pre-show? Obviously, Avatar.
Good. Avatar didn't show up, but it's okay. I'm used to waiting for Avatar. We got to look at Stray, which is, I was really hoping to see more of, and at the same time, I also don't want to see more of it because I want to play it.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where I kind of was just like,
we got a release date too.
We did. Yeah, we'll talk about
July.
Yeah, July 19th, I believe, and we'll talk.
So
about
one of your cat wishes came through.
Yeah, I really just want more cat games, apparently. Yeah.
Jada, you of course, you were pretty much on the money.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 and Street Fighter 6. I got like I wanted to cry, but my makeup would have run, and I didn't have enough time to fix it, so I held it in. And I'm just so excited to play both of these games when they start to release.
If you got 2 wishes, then I can still use my other one for money, and you'll all get a little bit.
Well, of course, the one that our audience most hoped to see at the show was Horizon Call of the Mountain, and we got a pretty lengthy showcase of it. This is a first-party PSVR 2 title. It's coming from Firesprite Games, one of the PlayStation's most recent acquisitions, as well as Guerrilla themselves. They're working kind of collaborations. We saw a couple of minutes of gameplay at this point. It's first person. We saw a bit of climbing, some the things you would expect to do in Horizon, but in first person climbing. I think for me the biggest surprise though was the dinosaur robot combat. And I know people don't love dinosaur robot, but robot combat.
Right.
I was not expecting that.
Like, I specifically did not call that. I called the exact opposite. This clearly has much more action-oriented combat than I was expecting, which leads me to believe that it is a sizable chunk of a game. I'm wondering if this is going to be sort of on the same scale as, I don't know, like a older campaign game you'd see where, 6 to 8 hour long. I mean, maybe that's overpromising, but like on the bright side, they already built this world. Like they've got a couple of these, environments under their belt, and I guess kind of redoing the scale and putting VR in there is a pretty cool way to go about it. But yeah, the combat looks kind of awesome. It looks like a very different experience from what we're used to. It's got, obviously some kind of motion gimmickry to it, but like that's not a bad thing necessarily. And I noticed there was kind of a lot of that sort of slowdown, which I think will be pretty cool because, obviously like the conventional Horizon games, they push back pretty hard. They'll beat the crap out of you. But like in this case, I think making it, a little more cinematic, a little more stylized, giving you kind of a second to pop off an arrow and, shoot one of those guys in the head.
Yeah, and Horizon's always given you that ability. There's always like a perk in the perk tree where when you're jumping in the air, it slows down time briefly. So it makes sense for it to be used in the VR version of this as well. I'm really excited. I want to see if there's more melee combat with like if there's like a staff or a spear or anything like that the character gets to use on top of the bow. We saw there was climbing axes, like Tomb Raider style for climbing. There's so much that was in this trailer that I got to rewatch it a couple more times to really dial in on everything that we're gonna get.
What kind of caught me off guard is that you saw like the sort of jungle areas, swamp areas, but there's also, you saw some of like the snowy ice mountains too.
Yeah.
So it makes me think that like a lot of the diverse locations that you see in those games are gonna make it here. All in all, I do feel like this is going to be like a more guided experience than your traditional open world game. But that doesn't mean it's going to be limited. And I actually really liked the way they're shoehorning that into here to sort of be like, hey, you're on a boat right now, and this is walking by you. Oh, you can attack this over here. Oh, you can climb this over here. Like, it seems like it's going to be a really awesome game to just experience straight through, even if it is a little more, straight line than the typical Horizon game.
Well, it reminds me, Max, to your point of like probably this being a somewhat larger experience. This to me feels very like blood and truthy, but we're getting it, early on in the life of VR2.
And that game was fun as hell. Like, that was such, and they clearly had to build that from the ground up. But like Guerrilla's they've got this world out there, and I think like putting a more not on rails necessarily, but a more linear experience within that world is a really smart way to kind of repurpose what they've already made. It's also anybody who looks at this and goes, "This doesn't look that impressive." You probably haven't done a lot of VR because it always is like so much more. Like doing the most ordinary stuff in VR is, it'll make you want to throw up in a good way.
Opening a door.
Like that zip line stuff and the climbing, like that's going to be nerve-wracking.
I remember playing Batman VR and just holding like a clipboard and turning it for 10 minutes. Like just little mundane things like that. And it's also like PSVR 2 is going to be so powerful, and Horizon's one of the best looking games ever made. So putting those things together it's such a smart way to launch this hardware.
Yeah, it looks really exciting. There's a lot of great combat options there and things that we'll be able to do. But I hope, it feels like Horizon. We're not playing as Aloy, but we're going to be able to get to see some more things about it. But anyway, Metro by T-Mobile wants to invite you to play more than before on the go with unlimited 5G. They're helping us announce our predictions throughout the summer so you can stay connected to all the latest Summer of Gaming news. So switch to Metro and save. Just $40, period. Remember to stay tuned to IGN social channels to make your voice heard and help us predict the next big announcement. Anyway, I think we're going to throw to a little bit of a break, but we have so much more to talk about right after this. Please stay tuned.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is presented by the US Army. You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com. What's your worry? And sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile.
I feel like we're gonna get,
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
All just kind of works.
Doesn't it?
It does.
It's great.
Thank you all so much for continuing to be here with me to talk about such a huge state of play. We really got so much to talk about. I do want to mention, we talked about Horizon Call of the Mountain, but the sort of PSVR 2 landscape was shown to us a little bit. We also saw that Resident Evil 8, this was my prediction for DLC, wasn't quite on the money, but we did learn that it will get VR support. in the future, which is...
You did say you wanted to see more of the tall lady,
and we will.
You'll get to do that now.
We really will. The internet is going to be a strange place after that comes out.
You're going to have to look straight up in order to like see her in shot. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be a weird one. But yeah, we also learned about that in addition to The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I believe it's Chapter 2, Retribution is the full name of it. That's actually coming to PSVR 1 and PSVR 2. So that one did have a 2022 date on it. I probably am going to guess that's VR 1. We learned about that. Horizon Call of the Mountain. No Man's Sky is coming to PSVR 2. It's available on PSVR 1 as well. And I think that is all of the VR games, unless I'm forgetting any. But I think those were all the main heavy hitters there. How are we feeling about the showing for VR2 here? Brian, do you want to say
it's shaping up. I mean, and it's one of those things where I, like, before the show, I was kind of like, I don't know if it'll find an audience. I don't know who will buy it. And then they're like, Resident Evil 4 remake VR. And I'm like, I will buy it. that's all it's
That sold you pretty much, yeah.
I mean, with VR, it's like you want a couple of killer apps. We have to learn more about it. We need to know price, release date, potential connectivity with PC and stuff like that. But for now, they're building up awareness for it, and they're showing you some really cool stuff you'll be able to do with it. That's a good way to start.
Yeah, it's a solid first showing. One of the ones I do want to talk about a little bit later. But Max, how did you feel about this overall first showing of PSVR 2?
I mean, it's weird because we still don't really have much to go on in the actual device itself. You know, it does kind of feel like they're, you know, putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But it's also good because if you build it, they will come. Like it's reassuring to know that there will be games at launch, because I know one of the big disappointments from experience with the PSVR 2 was having this thing and not really having enough stuff to play on it. And there is like a pretty decent kind of library there of PSVR 1 games. And hopefully those are compatible, but you know, it's kind of reassuring to be like, hey, you want to meet that very tall lady in VR? Well, great news. Buckle up.
It's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, speaking to that, I think the backward compatibility question is the one that we probably get the most on the show. People ask, write in to ask us. That is the strange one. And I guess the No Man's Sky announcement here worried me a little. Maybe it is just a better version that you'll get for free if you own it. But Jada, how are you feeling, I guess, on the prospect of backward compatibility after that reveal?
That's the $1 million question when it comes to any time you have a piece of technology and you get a new version. Like, is my old stuff going to work with my new stuff? Like, what do I need to rebuy? What is do I have to chuck out the window? Like,
you don't have to throw it out the window. That's a little bit aggressive.
That's what you do when you're done with technology.
I only have so much space in my house, Max. I live in San Francisco.
You don't have doors? Like, just Jada's neighbors are constantly getting hit with discs and controllers.
You know what? I look at it as one person's trash is another person's treasure. They get free stuff.
Fair.
But no, I think that it's going to be. I'm very excited at the prospect of PSVR 2 and getting upgraded versions. I'm hoping that they do follow, as you were saying, and giving us just kind of free updates to that newer version. Or if they're going to charge, hopefully they follow that $10 upgrade path that they did in the past, because some of these PSVR games have been out for a while, so I can understand with all the extra work that the developers had to put in to get it ready for PSVR 2, like wanting some type of compensation for all that extra work. So,
yeah, totally. I mean, No Man's Sky obviously kind of on a similar level to PSVR, not the same level, but had sort of a not underwhelming launch, but like people were like, hey, I wanted more than this. And
I think very rocky.
By kind of aligning this with PSVR 2, it's kind of like, hey, like all of our stuff, like, I mean, the No Man's Sky that's out for PSVR 1 is like the whole game. It's all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a dumbed down version. And I think if this is the next gen, up-res, up-zooted version running in this and now it's got haptics or something, that's kind of cool. That's a nice way of...
I think the tone they're setting here is that PSVR 2 will be a place to play big, huge, meaty games.
Yeah.
And I don't think we got a ton of that with first PSVR, and I like that they're setting that tone here.
Yeah, I do think, speaking to what you were just saying, and also Max, how earlier, that's something that you can track kind of on the episodes of Beyond. There were waves of VR, where it was like PSVR had a lot of great stuff for like 6 months in 2018, and then like 3 months in 2017, and then there would be lulls. I'm hoping we don't see those lulls here, but at least this is an opening salvo of things. I think this is a pretty strong lineup, especially when you consider Horizon in there. I do think that one's going to be really fun. But that wasn't the only focus. I was actually surprised kind of how short PSVR 2 was as part of it. But we did get, I think, the best way to classify it, a lot of very cool indies. And a lot of them are coming very soon. I want to start with Stray, which is getting a release date for July 19th. We also learned that this is going to be on the PlayStation Plus Premium and Deluxe tiers pretty much day one.
Which is great.
It's awesome. I think that's a thing, you know, a lot of people like to talk about other subscription services and games coming day one. I think a thing that we've not known so far is if Sony would do that with third-party games. So to see that with Stray, I think is a big deal.
Well, because they told everyone we're not doing that with first-party
With ours,
games. So
yes.
we were like, come on, just do it.
Just do it with something.
But they didn't say they were going to do it with third-party games. So this is a nice surprise. I'm subscribed to that because I bought that year when everybody did, when it was like a price drop. So I'll get this game automatically. I'm really excited for it. It's gorgeous. Max, you wanted this game to be here today, and you got your wish. You got your cat.
Yeah, I'm also really happy to see that release date is much sooner than later. And I think they need to bang that PS Plus drum a little bit harder. Like I think one of the things that really got people to pay attention to Game Pass was that there was that logo front and center in Microsoft's E3 showings to be like, hey, play it day one on Game Pass. Boom. Like.
And they did it for like game after game after game.
Yeah, and like I think Sony needs to really just like keep doing that. Like even in this case, it felt almost like an afterthought. And like I mean, I would buy this game anyway, but like if it's going to be coming to the thing that I'm already paying for, then that's really cool to hear. More of that, please. Like that's how you compete in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Jada, what do you think of? You know, we're now just I guess a month and a half away from Stray. Are you excited for this one?
I'm very excited. There was one shot in the trailer where his eyes kind of glossed over, very yellow, and I was like, "Is this an alien cat?" Like, I mean, we're dealing with like robots and stuff. We don't know really what the full setting in as a whole is going to look like. So I'm very interested in what the storyline's going to look like for Stray. I'm very very excited for this. I just got a cat like literally a year ago, so I'm learning all of the
eccentricities.
All the eccentricities. That is a perfect
So
word.
wait. Your cat's eyes don't just randomly turn yellow sometimes? Take the cat to the vet. That's not normal. They're supposed to do that all the time. That's a very normal.
The eyes don't go yellow. What's happening? But no, yeah, this one is one that I think a lot of people have been looking forward to. I was talking to a few people recently, and the reveal trailer for this one did huge on IGN. Like people have been so excited for this game. So it's awesome to see we're only a few weeks away from it, and it'll be on PS Plus for everyone who, like Brian, bought that great deal to subscribe.
People love cat.
That was a really awesome one to see. Another one that I'm really excited was shown off. I believe it's coming late in September. Is Tunic. Yeah. This has been on Xbox and PC earlier this year, but we're already going to be getting it on PlayStation later this year. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. Have any of you played Tunic?
Yeah, I played a bunch of it. It's if you're waiting for like a Zelda game to come to PlayStation, this is your chance. This is pretty much isometric top-down Zelda. It's got like the weird obtuseness of like some of my more preferred Zeldas, like Link's Awakening and stuff like that. A little bit of Majora's Mask, which I dig. It's more obtuse than I would say your traditional Zelda game. Like there's a lot of puzzle solving. There's a lot of like you learn a language throughout this game, piecing together artifacts of like scanned video game manual from the 80s. So it's really clever. It's got a lot of charm to it. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm glad that PlayStation players get to play this game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I think it's super smart to the cadence with which they're releasing this, because like a lot of people were speaking very highly of it on Xbox, and I can see it, getting thrown in some Game of the Year conversations by it having kind of a resurgence of players on PlayStation.
Yeah, Jada, you were saying you've played a little bit of it?
Yeah, you literally took the words out of my mouth. Like this game is amazing. I played through it completely on the Xbox. I'm excited to play through it again on PlayStation and get those trophies. And like Brian was saying, the instruction manuals are so just like very not convoluted, but very complex, and you have to really like decipher them, what each thing means. Like you'll get one page and it'll have like 12 different objects and like just question marks next to them. Like go figure it out. It's very much that go and just play and try things out. There's so many hidden paths in the game too. Like I can't tell you how many times I died and then I get through the part and I find a shortcut back to like the beginning of the world. I'm just like, oh, so if I could have just
you get those aha moments.
Yeah, I could have just skipped all of this and got to
That's awesome.
So it's play Tunic when it comes out.
Sounds like the perfect game to use an IGN guide for. Go to IGN. I drop a link on the screen, please. Anyway, in addition to, I thought we would have it ready. In addition to that, some of the other indies that I was really excited to see was a brand new one I do want to touch on, which was called Roller Dome.
I want to play Roller Dome.
That's from Roll7, who, if you haven't played Ollie Ollie World, go play it. It is one of the best games this year. But Ollie Ollie World came out earlier this year. Roll7 is a great studio. They've done a lot of awesome stuff. This was, I guess, the best way to describe it, as we were during the show, was roller derby with guns.
Yeah, and Sable's art style almost.
Yeah.
It's got a little Tony Hawk, little Jet Set Radio, a little bit of Vanquish with like the maneuvering around people. Like,
well, I love that. Like, I mean, we saw this and I was like, oh, is Sable coming to PlayStation? And we're like, wait, that didn't have roller skates that I recall. And I love this kind of retro vibe. I also think it's hilarious how like Ubisoft came out with Roller Champions and they're like, it's super glossy and finished, and they're like, yeah, but what if it had less graphics and more guns?
Yeah.
This reminds me. This is a deep cut. This reminds me so much of the music video for Justice's New Lands, which is like this weird kind of 70s like roller, which is obviously reminiscent of Rollerball, but like I'm very into this. I love the look of it, and Roll 7 has some experience with rolling things and skateboards.
Yeah,
that's true.
I want to see them do roller skates. So
they know how wheels work. Yeah. For those who maybe haven't played Ollie Ollie World before or any of Roll 7's other games, they're really great at very like in the moment, I guess like crunchy gameplay. Like it's very much about the button presses and the feel of those button presses as you're doing every move.
Yep.
Like in the older Ollie Ollie games, you need to click a button just to land properly. Like they are really all about that. So I would not be shocked if Roller Drome, not Dome, excuse me, does have some really like finessing to it for the move set that you're able to pull off. This one also coming in August, which is like, I think, we've all been talking a little bit about how it's a little bit of a quieter year right now. We're wondering when things are going to land. We're sort of getting this nice cadence of these indies of like, Roller Drome will be in August. We're getting Stray in July, Tunic in September. This is like a nice, comfortable rollout, I think.
I could also use some smaller games after Elden Ring. Like I'm not really, champing at the bit for like another huge open world game. I'm sure I'll play 3 of them, but like, it's going to be cool to see some smaller stuff come along.
Yeah, totally.
This is, especially with that and Horizon back to back, and then other big games coming out right around that. I've done a lot of open worlds. I like shorter games now. Another indie that I do want to touch on was, of course, Season, which we saw again. That's one that we've talked about before from State of Plays and things like that. We got a season for Season. It is coming autumn 2022. I appreciate they did autumn and not fall.
Yeah.
That's my big note.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, fall could have worked if they fell off the bike at any part during the trailer.
Sure.
But I'm glad that they didn't fall off the trailer, off their bike in the trailer.
Can you fall in season?
Fall in season could be a top SEO trending term.
we can figure out if you do actually fall. But no, Brian, I know you were saying during the show you were really struck by the look of this one.
Yeah, it's just really, really beautiful. I appreciate the atmosphere here, like just taking in everything here. I have like. Immediately, I'm kind of like, I didn't know you could ride your bike on a lot of these surfaces, like tall grass, but sure, you can talk to a cow, so we'll, not to get in the weeds like he just did. But this is a beautiful game, and that's what we're looking for, right? Like, this is why we bought a PS5. We bought these next-gen consoles because we want these big, beautiful, original, gorgeous-looking games. And this is exactly delivering on that for me. This is hyper stylish, and I want to know more about it, and I cannot wait to play it.
Yeah, it looks really engaging. Jada, what do you think about this?
I love it. I love all the different actions. I love that we're getting another photographer as a character in games. There's like, 5 or 6 of them that are like very well known. I'm sure there's plenty of indie characters that are photographers, but this is another one that looks great. There's also like audio recording. I want to know what that process is going to look like and what that is. What's the point of it? Like, in a good way. Like, I want to know what what this game is going to entail. Like, it's such a enigma right now, and I want to know more.
Yeah, and luckily we're only a few months away from it. Max, what do you think of this one?
I think it's gorgeous. It's one of those kind of make or break thing for me is I think how much the world sucks me in, and how my biggest fear is that everyone's too chatty. Because like when there's this big beautiful world to go explore, if you just have to go talk to NPCs and they're like, I don't know, go check this thing, I'll be like, shut up, let me look at the clouds and go wander around. But yeah, no, it looks great. I'm glad.
What if you could ring your bike bell until they shut up?
Oh, it'll come through the speaker.
That would make the game for me.
You can feel the bring of the bell through the haptics on the PS5.
Yeah, it'll really make
what if they squeak like bike brakes?
Ooh, that would be fun.
Right?
That would be really cool.
Wow, a bike simulator on the
haptics, like Pokemon cards and the spokes.
We definitely need a biking simulator for PS5 now.
Yeah, that's perfect. No, but yeah, I think you're totally right, and I hope based on what we saw in that trailer, it's one that we saw big, wide shots of the environment. Like that's what I want to get lost in, not walking to person, giving them an item, walking to another person, giving them an item. So hopefully it is. It is only a few months away. Technically, autumn is in a few months, so hopefully it comes out then and we'll get to know. Before we jump to any other games, I do want to circle back because we didn't get to fully jump into it, but I think Final Fantasy 16 is worth taking a little more time out to talk about. One of the striking things, Jada, you had said as we were watching was that it looked like there were duels based on the health bars on screen. Like it was an interesting...
Yeah, it looked like anytime you're fighting with one of the summons or eidolons or whatever they're calling them, the dominants, I think I heard the word come out in the trailer. You saw like kind of a fighting game health bar kind of versus up in the top right part of the screen. And I mean, seeing boss health bars in game is not a new thing, but I thought it was a really cool kind of dynamic where it really pits you up against this god that you're going to be fighting. It's mano a mano that you're going to be going toe to toe with them. And the gameplay looks spectacular. The gameplay, it reminded me a lot of Metal Gear Revengeance. It was so fast, so snappy, bright, like effects and big numbers popping up on the screen. So like, I'm all for Final Fantasy 16 after that trailer.
Yeah. Max, what did
Yeah,
you
I mean,
think?
I'm excited because, like I said earlier, it's like it feels like a very new and unknown quantity. Like for a long time, Final Fantasy games had it was kind of a known quantity what the battle system would be like. Like what I mean, there'd be nuanced changes, but for the most part, it was a turn-based experience, and you manage your party members and items and spells and attacks and all that. And like in this case, it's like it's kind of doing a lot, and I hope it's doing it right. I know that FF15's kind of approach was sort of divisive on that front, but like it clicked with me, and then kind of reinforced by FF7's, and like I don't know what this is going to be like, but I guess it's again, like we see a lot of familiar franchises get carted out, and we're like, oh, it's more of the same. Oh, it's Far Cry 11 or whatever. But I'm excited to see what they're doing here. Like, and I'm hoping that they're taking some risks and trying some new things while still keeping the spirit of what people like about Final Fantasy games.
Well, and it's certainly not like it's never been a aesthetic for the franchise, but the sort of leaning into the medieval fantasy here feels fresh after a lot of the more like cybernetic or cyberpunk or things of that nature that we've gotten from a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I fought the last boss for FF15 wearing like a snowboarding jacket. I'm like, this is not really Final Fantasy, but all right.
I was all suited up as soon as I got the suits. I was just suited up the whole game.
That's perfect. But no, yeah, I think this one has so much potential, and we're coming off a pretty good streak for Final Fantasy. Like especially remake, the resurgence, and just the love for 14 so much that they had to delist it from being sold because too many people were playing. It's a very good moment for and especially having the producer from 14 on. I know, Jada, I think you've played a little bit of 14.
Yeah, I've played through most of the expansions. I still got to do Endwalker. But yeah, it's gorgeous. There's a lot of summons that are very similar to look-wise to what we got in 14. Garuda specifically looks very similar. Ifrit looked pretty similar, but also different. Like that's the thing I love about Final Fantasy is they constantly reinvent these summons where they're still the same looking in their at their core, but they have these new little flares added to them, and this flare just kind of like really sets them apart from other versions. So some people like Ramu in 14, but some people may like Ramu in 7, even though it was super old and outdated. Well, if you count remake, and he looks great in that. So
we got a Malboro in the first reveal, didn't we?
Yes, Malboro. Yep, got one of those enemies. Those big old bad breath.
Flavor country, I love it.
No, I really adored this trailer. I will admit I think I've told the story on Beyond before, but I was not allowed to play Final Fantasy as a kid because they said the word hell in one, and I was told I couldn't play anymore.
And there's a character named after cigarettes.
I know, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so
Cactus did weird things with his arms.
I want to see that cactus.
Let's not talk about the cactus.
I want Mogs. I want Moogles.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah. But I came to Final Fantasy very late, and it's really only been in the last couple of years where like 7 Remake really grabbed me. I've loved what I've played of 14. I'm finally starting to go back to some of the older ones, and this is now 16 as this could be such a massive game for me. So I'm very hopeful for it. Again, summer 2023, so we're waiting a little bit. I imagine they're going to go quiet for a bit. We've got Forspoken from Square Enix this fall, which we didn't get in the State of Play, which I thought was interesting.
It's like we are enthusiast press, as we call ourselves, right? And we say every year that next year is going to be huge. Next year's going to be huge. I think we're finally reaching that point right now. By next year, you'll be able to get next-gen consoles, hopefully readily available, and there'll be a massive library. There's a bunch of new games. A lot of the stuff today was 2023. That was pretty surprising.
But a lot of it looks really, really exciting. But we will need to take a very quick break. But we've got so much more to discuss from Sony State of Play when we return. So stick around because we'll be right back after this.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile and presented by the U.S. Army. You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com. What's your warrior?
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, Let's Plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game, but what if you got a chance to peek into the mind of the developers behind those games as they watch their hard work get completely destroyed right in front of them?
What is happening right now?
That's exactly what happens on every episode of Devs React to Speedruns. We invite you to ride along with the developers as they watch, react, and enjoy some of the craziest gameplay by the most skilled speedrunners on the planet. Tune in every Saturday for a brand new episode.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
Me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
And we're back. Let's keep talking about all things PlayStation because there's always lots to discuss. So let's get back to it and discuss the rest of what came from this state of play discussion.
Yes.
The one I want to start off with before we get to some stuff we also didn't see, I think is a big discussion worth having. But one big one, third-party game, excuse me, is Callisto Protocol. This is from the original creator of Dead Space. Looks very much like a Dead Space game, just not called Dead Space. Amusingly was part of the PUBG universe, isn't any longer. We know this is coming December 2nd this year.
Yeah.
The spooky season, December.
Scariest time of the year if you're, trying to buy Christmas presents.
Yeah,
it's waited too long.
I mean, Krampus.
Krampus is scary.
Krampus is very scary.
This game looks way more sort of further along than I thought it would be. I feel like we went from seeing like glimpses of it to like little animatics and like little teasers and stuff like that to suddenly like here's the game. Like it's almost done. We've got a release date. I'm super excited for this. I'm also really happy that this is happening concurrently with the Dead Space remake because I feel like everyone's going to be kind of satisfied here. I mean, we talk about video games for a living, so no one will be satisfied.
No one will ever be
But
satisfied.
this is all very exciting stuff if you're a survival horror fan, if you love third-person action horror games. Big day for that stuff today. But this game looks awesome. I love it. It's super moody, crazy violent, which is amazing, super gory. That's what I want in my horror. So yeah, bring it on. I can't wait for this.
Max, what do you think of this one?
This looks amazing. Again, the big kind of elephant in the room, the big necromorph in the room is the fact that we're also getting a big, gorgeous Dead Space remake, and I feel bad for both studios because they're going to be compared to each other so relentlessly, and it's like this is completely unabashedly, touching on Dead Space stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The reveal trailer was like packed with Easter eggs that were just like nods. Like, hey, remember that? Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really kind of cool to see how they compare to each other, and I don't know. Competition is good in this sense, and more horror games are fun.
Yeah,
unless you're a coward, in which case I'm sorry.
They're probably not fun. But no, I think between the two of these are like, I think the Callisto Protocol, they want that to be a series. They probably want to do more remakes after Dead Space. I think what each can learn from each other is going to be really interesting whenever we inevitably, hopefully, get sequels for both. Jada, what do you think of this one?
I've been hyped for Callisto Protocol. Dead Space it has my personal vote for like the spookiest game in space.
So good.
If there's another one out there, like, please tweet at me and let me know.
Super Mario Galaxy.
Super Mario Galaxy.
Terrifying.
Falling into space and just like endlessly falling forever.
Being a bee in space.
You walk on a huge Yoshi's head.
Oh, that's just.
I threw up.
The Callisto Protocol.
Callisto Protocol. But yes, no, I am so excited for this. I really don't remember much from the first trailer. I remember it being in like a jail cell and then like somebody getting grabbed and like swiped away and like. I don't remember much else from that first little teaser, and so like to get so much here, like you were saying, Brian, it's just it's mind blowing and how far along this game has come, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I want to watch this trailer a couple more times because it's on my own time. I don't have to make.
We
you
can
guys
we can just stay in silence and watch the footage.
Can we? If we want to hang out for a few hours, we can watch Resident Evil 4 and this on loop. No, it's awesome.
Good day for horror.
Can't wait.
In addition to this one, briefly worth mentioning from the third-party side as well, one I am interested in, called Eternites, which seems to combine third-person action anime games and dating sims.
Finally.
I did not know what this was going to be. During the show, we were like, is this a Shin Megami Tensei game? What's going on here? And then, yeah, it is a cool anime dating action game with cybernetic attacks and things.
I just love the fact that we're going to have a new meme that's going to come from this game. On screen during the trailer, we saw press R2 to hold hands. It's press F to pay respects all over again. I cannot wait to see what the gaming community at large does with this moment from the game.
It's perfectly suited for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we get to learn a little more. But that was a quick one shown in there. Last one I do want to mention, of course, is Spider-Man Remastered was announced from PC.
We heard about there was like a rumor of Returnal coming to PC.
Yeah,
so I thought that would be here today. But Spider-Man Remastered coming to PC is awesome.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. Amazing game. It's the remastered version, and people get to experience that, and they get to mod in their characters, which is going to be amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
They get to mod in, hopefully, Spider-Man 2 level graphics for the entire game.
Do you remember the glitch for Spider-Man where you could play as like a park bench or like a phone booth?
Yeah.
They're gonna make that better than ever now.
I think someone became like a literal chunk of ice or a puddle at some point. So yeah.
Saw trash cans swinging around. It was great.
But yeah, Remastered is the version that's only available on PS5 currently. You can't get it on PS4. It's sort of a bundle with Miles Morales as well. So it's the best playing version of the game. Obviously, if you haven't played Spider-Man, you have a PC, but you don't have a PlayStation, thank you for watching the show. But also go play Spider-Man. It's just such a phenomenal game. We can't wait for the sequel. But yeah, you'll get the Spider-Man Remastered comes with all 3 DLC packs as well. Just really awesome, and it's coming in August. So PC
this is cool. It's got to be tricky for Sony because you see that there's as much of a weird backlash when they're like, hey, we're making our games on PC. People are like, how dare you? I only wanted it for my thing. But at the same time, we're tuned in to watch stuff about PlayStation. And like on some level, I was like, well, I already have that on PlayStation. I don't care if it's on PC. And that's, completely ignoring a good chunk of the audience. But again, like, where do you make that announcement? Like, where do you put that? Like, it's kind of, it almost feels like they should save those announcements up and be like, do one of those rapid, like, boom, 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 boom. Here's a bunch of, PlayStation exclusives that are coming to PC. But I mean, whatever, they're putting them out there. That's, if you think it's bad that more people are playing a fun video game, I don't think you're very fun.
Also, if you don't like the new character model they use for Peter Parker's head,
change it back. That is going to be
baby. That's the first thing you're going to do.
That is going to be I like new Peter for what it's worth. But yeah, that's really exciting, I think, for that audience. It is one of PlayStation's most successful games ever. So to have it there on a new platform, the thing they've been doing with these is to put them out to get people excited for the next game that they'll buy on their PlayStation. And that's
right.
Spider-Man 2.
So it's a profit job.
Yes. They're in it to make money.
What? Video games are a business?
How dare they?
Well, with that revelation aside, one revelation we didn't get was a release date for God of War Ragnarok.
Not a peep about God of War. I shaved my head and everything. I'm a little bummed about that.
You had a kid.
Though, yeah, I did. So I do think we're going to get a dedicated showcase, right?
Yeah.
So like they've done this in the past where they've been like, this is a hyper-focused thing just on one game. I think we're going to get that. It's going to really sell it. It's going to be sort of at the finish line of when this game's about to come out.
Yeah.
And summer just started, right? Or it's not even legally summer yet,
no,
right?
not legally. No.
Let's check in with seasons.
That's coming in autumn, so that probably won't. But no, summer is not for another 3-ish weeks, so you do have time. Yeah. But no, this is one I think obviously people really, really wanted to hear about. But I also, like you said, think it will get its own marquee state of play or showcase sort of thing.
You can tell that today was so good that we're not really mad about not finding out more about this. There was enough to distract us and keep us happy.
I can't think of anybody who would be upset about not getting God of War today because of all the other great games we got today. We were talking about it during the break, Brian, and we're like, they're going to get, like you said, we're going to get this marquee event where it's God of War and probably PSVR 2. We're going to get, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to focus on either PSVR 2, and at the end it'll be like God of War. Here's the final trailer, release date, dropping in like 2 months or something like that. Or they'll flip it and it'll be like, here is 40 minutes of God of War
and a little PSVR at the end.
And a little PSVR 2. Hey, it's coming out in November. Like, I think we're going to get one of those too. I'm really excited.
It'd be nice if they like took a cue from like Marvel movies and had like a little stinger at the end where they were just you see Kratos and they're like, more info coming in August or what? Like
Kratos will return.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty. Like I'm pretty sure they know in advance when they're going to announce some of this stuff or talk about it more. Like I think just a little, just.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously,
if you beat God of War Ragnarok, Sam Jackson comes out and he goes, "I'm putting together a team of bald dudes."
I want to talk to you about the PlayStation All Stars project.
I would love that.
That sounds amazing. Wait, that sounds so good.
We have done an All Stars 2 fan cast on this show like 4 times. I just want it to happen. I'm desperate for.
Everybody's
PlayStation
making
All-Stars
party
2.
fighters now.
Exactly.
They're putting it in there and put Ted Lasso in one of them. Make All Stars 2.
If Ted Lasso can fight Arya Stark, we can have Spider-Man fight Sackboy or whatever.
Exactly. Mod Kratos and Aloy into Spider-Man and make him fight.
Perfect.
It's that simple.
We did it. Well, yeah, unfortunately, we didn't learn about God of War Ragnarok, but hopefully we have so much more to look forward to. Before we wrap up, just sort of best in show thoughts. Brian, I'll start with you. Give me your surprise favorite announcement of the show.
Oh man, I can't even imagine. Resident Evil 4 remake. Yes, I was so happy about that. I cannot wait for it. It's nice that it's a long time away. They can take their time with it.
Yeah.
I can replay the original game about 20 more times. I'm so excited for it. Thank you for making that happen. When they said it's a third-party focus event, I didn't think big enough, and I'm sorry for undermining you because you did great today, PlayStation.
Brian, I want to Slack tally every time you replay it until it launches.
Oh man, does that work retroactively? Because that's going to be like one of those guys who's in prison for.
No, I want from today going forward.
Oh,
you just Slack me.
Let's do it.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Max, what about for you? What were you most excited by?
I mean, RE4, like for sure. Like
Yes.
I'm really excited to see that. And it's gonna be cool. And it's annoying because I want to think of other stuff to be excited about. But like that's my answer. That's a half-assed answer. I just copied off your paper.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Jada, what about you?
RE4. No, I'm just kidding. Street Fighter 6. No, my roots in streaming came from Street Fighter, and so I'm going to return to my streaming when Street Fighter 6 launches. I cannot wait to get on the sticks and play against my viewers and followers. It's going to be so much fun. Just exploring what they have in this new game. There's so many new things. I'm still a little hesitant about this following Luke, this new character that they just added in 5. But what they showed today, I'm optimistic about what we're going to get.
Yeah, it seems like a very hopeful start after the snafu of finding we could all make the Street Fighter 6 logo.
I'm really curious about this. I don't, obviously like it's still too soon to tell. And like I'm always interested in Street Fighter. Like I like the characters, I like the setting, but I suck at the game. Like I'll dabble and then I'll be like, I'll go do something else. I'll see a squirrel outside or whatever, like just wander off. But like in this case, I think it's to see like third person climbing ladders. That doesn't, if you put a gun in my head, like what game is this? I'll be like, why are you attacking me with a gun? But we were seriously second guessing ourselves, being like, obviously it's Street Fighter. They're like, wait, are they making a new Final Fight? And like, that's unusual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a huge flying leap for Street Fighter to take. Like
Max, you could tell that we're both so bad at Street Fighter that we're excited about climbing ladders.
I've always wanted to know more about these streets.
I'm gonna have to get you guys both in the lab.
I can climb above the fight and watch it. Oh,
no, I mean,
beautiful.
like, that's that issue. Like they've got this, billion-selling franchise that, and if you change it too much, it's not that thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Plato's Ship Rib or whatever. Like if you make it third person, you made Tekken. Like what did you? Yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, like it's I'm interested to see it from like a game enthusiast press man perspective, whatever. I want to see what they do here. Yeah.
One thing that would be really cool to see with that third person hub world kind of thing, like if there's like cage matches, like arenas, like one of the arenas is a cage, and you can like literally like kind of watch it from above. So like you're seeing it in 3D, even though the fight is on a 2D plane. That would be really cool for like the spectator mode. That would be like.
Yeah. Didn't one of the Tekkens do that with a VR, like a VR spectator mode or something, or like they framed the perspective like that or something?
Maybe I haven't. Oh man!
But that's a really cool idea. Being able to see like a Street Fighter game from like as a perspective. That's really cool.
Capcom,
my question is, if you're walking down the street and you see a car, can you beat the crap out of that car?
I hope so. Please bring that back.
I hope so. And I hope Hagar, the mayor, comes out and he's like, please stop doing that. That's my job.
If I lift up a trash can, will I find a roast chicken under there?
Anyone should be able to find a roast chicken under a trash can. That's my promise.
That was my dinner last night.
I prefer a gold bar, but you take your roast chicken.
Whatever you want to eat.
Now I want a new Streets of Rage. I gotta say, my biggest surprise now is how much Max talked about Street Fighter.
I know.
I am impressed.
No cats in that game either.
It's just not the game I
No, sure, there's like there's the dockside side level, one walks by in the background several times, probably. I don't know.
I'm getting Max in the lab, and I'm gonna train him up, and he's gonna be a star.
This is the abuse. You're gonna hit me a bunch.
Street Fighter 6 is set on Pandora, so you'll probably love it.
That's right.
For me, my most excited, I have to give a shout out to Final Fantasy 16 because I thought it was a tremendously awesome look. But for me, legitimately, the Horizon Call of the Mountain trailer really impressed me.
I'm laughing about Avatar.
Okay, that's fair.
That looked awesome.
I was like, oh no, what did I do? What did I say?
Great. You're knocking it out of the park today.
I loved it. I thought, I really loved Forbidden West earlier this year. I think the things it did story-wise and world-building-wise were really great. And I was nervous about what a smaller first-person Horizon experience would be like. But the fact that they showed so much combat, that they showed who you're playing as is not Aloy, but they're a prisoner that has been freed by one of the people that we know from the first game. And it's built into the lore, and you are doing something that seems important here. And so to see that be what is possible for VR2 has me really hopeful.
Now, Jonathan, at the end of this demo, we saw the main character get stepped on by a giant robotic beast. Do you think that's the end of the game?
I hope they didn't spoil it that quickly, but it very well might have been. But no, I was really, really excited about that one, and hope we learn more whenever VR2 happens.
Yeah, no, do you think we're going to have a backpack to pull stuff out of?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
that's the only way you can. That or a belt.
As long as it's the only thing that you can wear.
No,
absolutely.
In all seriousness, though, this is a brilliant way of demoing new tech. It has been proven that immersing people in a beautiful, lush jungle, giving them a bow and arrow, and then having them encounter ginormous imaginary beasts. That's what made Avatar so popular. It's literally all about that.
And on that note, that's just about going to wrap us up for this week's very special episode of Podcast Beyond. Thank you, Brian, Max, and Jada, for joining along with me and for talking about Avatar so much. And thank you to all of you out there who tuned in live today. Remember that you can get brand new episodes of Beyond, IGN's dedicated weekly PlayStation show, on IGN, the IGN Games YouTube channel, and your favorite podcast apps. On top of that, IGN Summer of Gaming is going strong all summer long. Next Thursday, June 9th, we've got coverage of Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, followed by IGN Summer of Gaming Expo next Friday on the 10th, and the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase next Sunday, June 12th, just to name a few. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. We hope